Former Shepherd and now Chicago Bears quarterback Tyson Beant had a lot to say about his visit to West Virginia. Man, they could mess up a soup sandwich.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am the host around here, these parts, and welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, where we're talking, I get it. We're back in the past again today, but we're talking Neal Brown and how they could mess up a soup sandwich, like I mentioned in the open. Harrell definitely culpable here too, but at the end of the day, what happened? Why? I mean, how did? Hold on, let me pull this up really quick. Let's see, where is it? I'm gonna say, is that it? I think this might be it. Hold on, I forgot what I labeled it under. Nope, not it. Okay, it is. There's a picture of Bagent and Neal Brown together, and I don't know where I put it. Of course, let's see. No, not finding it, unfortunately. But anyways, of course, we all know that Bagent and company came in to visit West Virginia. It was supposedly going to be an awesome addition at the time, and I think there were people that were definitely skeptical about Bagent at the time. I was not. As a matter of fact, on this very show, I pounded the desk very hard for him because I just knew you can watch the tape, right, and know that he was a good player. It's not a shock that he's in the NFL at all. But here we go, right? So he had some things to say. What did he say though? Let's play that first, and then we'll go into the next part.
It wasn't even going to be West Virginia. That's the funny part. I took that visit to West Virginia. I'm in there. Everything is great. I'm loving it. And then I walk into the offensive coordinators meeting, and I've known I was going to meet with this dude for about 4 days up until this point.
Sounds like it's not going so well, right?
And I walk into the offensive coordinator's room. It was Graham Harrell. Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Graham Harrell, fucking stud, right?
Yep.
Super
Slings
hyped. Can't wait for this meeting, right? And I can only imagine the kind of guys, the quarterbacks that he's meeting with, like these freshmen that you know they don't really know what's going on, right? I'm like, at this point, I just won the D2 Heisman. I threw freaking 100 touchdowns in a season. I'm so ready to.
The exact kind of competence that we need at West Virginia, by the way. Exactly.
Talk to this dude about football, and no discredit to him, it couldn't have been on him, but I walked in and he looked at us. He's like, "Oh, we're meeting right now." Come on, kill. I was disgusted the rest of the day.
First impressions are everything, and at the I always say, make your first impression your greatest impression, because you don't have a chance to make another impression. And you'll never have that again unless somebody gets amnesia. It's the only time you ever meet somebody that you can make a real impression that matters, in my opinion, because I think that first impression is the most important thing. It actually gets overlooked a lot in society, believe it or not. As much as it's talked about, I feel like it gets overlooked. It's so important. Like, I'm the kind of person that if I know I'm meeting with somebody, I'll do my research. Like, if it's somebody important, like a job or whatever, I'll do my research and try to figure out what kind of person is this? What kind of things do they like? What are they into? And not that I would mold myself to what they like or what they don't like to be fake, but I think it's important to be aware of it, right? Like, if a guy doesn't like goofing off, or if a guy doesn't like horseplay, or if a guy is a very straight and narrow kind of person, then maybe I hone back my goofy personality today a little bit and let that come out as naturally. But so in this situation, why am I not surprised that they blew it immediately off the first impression with the kid that went on to play games in the NFL for Chicago and was the Division II Heisman and had thrown for a bunch of yards, was a dual threat player in college that can really sling the thing around. Like if you go watch his Shepherd tape, it's so obvious that he's a good player. So obvious that I was calling him at the time because this is when Cam Ward, I think this was the year after or the same year that Cam Ward transferred from Incarnate Word to Washington State and followed his offensive coordinator. So, and that had gone successfully. I think it was the year before, but I'm not certain. So I was like kind of making that comparison. Or actually, you know what? Actually, I think it was the Western Kentucky player. I might Bailey Zappi. He had come up from Division II and played really well for Western Kentucky and threw like 1 billion touchdowns and then got drafted by the Patriots, I believe it was. Anyway, I was trying to make that comparison like, hey, this is very similar to Zappi. And if you look at them on tape, they were similar players. So I was like, yeah, let's do this thing. And then we got the picture of Neal Brown with Bagent at the game, at the basketball game. I'll never forget that. I was definitely I made a video about it that very day. And I was so excited about the possibility of Bagent over Daniels for sure. And we didn't quite have Daniels. I know he was being rumored. And here's the thing. That's what happened here. It's JT Daniels was the favored one, not Bagent. And, it's easy to look at it in hindsight and say it's a bad decision. I get that because JT Daniels is a former 5-star player. He looked pretty good at Georgia at times leading up to then. But if you would have given me a choice, I would have taken Tyson Beant. And that's not a lie because of what he was coming off of. A Division II Heisman, 1 billion touchdowns, and he can run with the ball. I just felt like he would have fit our scheme so much better. Garrett Green would have had somebody to learn from even better, probably Nico Marchiol as well. And to give you a snapshot of what we looked like at this point in time, this is in 2022. I think this would have been Bagent's last year. Coming into this meeting, this is what Bagent had. He was the all-time Division I record leader for passing yards all time, 17,000 yards, 159 touchdown passes, 40 interceptions, 1,500 completions. He'd had 2 straight 5,000-yard seasons where he'd thrown for literally 100 touchdowns. It's not even an exaggeration. 53 and 41 touchdowns and only 13 interceptions off of that. 42 completions in a game. 518 passing yards in one game. 7 touchdowns in one game. You know Smith's stats, right? And he won the Heisman Trophy. 27 program records. Staggering numbers. Our quarterback situation was Garrett Green, a redshirt freshman with very little experience, 16 career tosses at that point in time. Will Crowder, who can't even get on the field or hasn't been. I mean, I don't guess his career's over now, but wasn't even able to get on the field at Troy. And Nico Marchiol, who obviously wasn't ready then. He was barely ready recently. So early enrollee, true freshman in 2022. None of these quarterbacks have started a game, and their inexperience was a glaring issue for us. And we were a program that needed immediate offensive improvement. So you would think both Brown and Harrell would throw a party for this player as he showed up, right? But they didn't even know he was coming. Surely to God, that can't be the truth. Surely to God, Neal Brown's regime wasn't this bad. Am I overreacting? Somebody tell me if I'm overreacting here. How in God's creation do you have a player this accomplished coming in and you don't even know about it? It's insane to me. I knew about it for sure. I was really excited about it. Very frustrating for me. And so the rest is history. Obviously, we don't get Rich Rod back. I think if we get Bagent in, we have a much better year than we had with JT Daniels for sure. Obviously, because Bagent is now playing in the NFL. you know, so obviously he was the better choice. Not even close. Not even close. So I've got some points here. So at the end of the day, here's what they did. They underestimated, had to, Bagent's potential, which once again, what do I always say about the Neal Brown regime? They couldn't evaluate. It's like their biggest glaring issue. Like the players that we had that were good, I believe they lucked into now. I've thought about this a lot. You get Zach Frazier, an all-world, once in every couple generations center. Same thing with Wyatt Milam. And you get Doug Nestor. You know why you got these players? Because they're from West Virginia. That's why you got them. You don't get them any other reason. If those guys were from Michigan, they would have went to Michigan. That just kills me because this is the death of our program almost. Like, we still may not recover from this era of Brown. They prioritized other options. JT Daniels, we mentioned it. Neglected in-state talent at this point, right? I mean, they had listen, they went after in-state talent, but this is a Martinsburg kid who was a lifelong West Virginia fan. His dream was to play for West Virginia. Culturally, he would have had the fan support. He'd thrown for 7,800 yards and 112 touchdowns at that point in time. Insanity in high school, by the way, not at Shepherd. So, and the thing is, actually, it would have been Dana that wouldn't have offered him. So Dana Holgerson overlooked him first, right? It would have been Dana. We're going back to because it'd have been 2018. So Dana overlooked him. Not a surprise there either. But then Neal Brown had a chance to get him after he already proven he was good. At least Dana, he had the whole West Virginia kids can't play thing to fall back on. What did Neal have here? And Graham Harrell. He's culpable too. But even Bagent said, I don't think it was on him in the interview. And then obviously if you look at Harrell's track record, I mean, he'd been pretty good at North Texas. Top 25 offense. He was pretty good at USC. We thought he could elevate West Virginia as well. And for whatever reason, it just didn't work. 10 points versus Pitt. 20 versus Kansas. I think that, you got Tyson Beant. Absolutely, I think you do better. There's no doubt. He was mobile. One of our biggest reasons we didn't do as well that year was because we had JT Daniels as a statue in the pocket. And when we brought Garrett Green in, we had sparks. Which is why that ended up being the next year actually working. So, because we just couldn't protect JT Daniels at times. He held the ball. There was a lot of different reasons. But so if you want to be fair, you can say the competition level concerns at D2 were against lesser competition, and maybe West Virginia was worried about his ability to transition to the Big 12. Of course, he goes to the Senior Bowl and tears it up right after we met after that year as well. He's 2-2 as a starter in the NFL at this point in time, by the way. And then you could say, well, maybe they wanted to develop Garrett Green or what have you, and maybe Bagent stunts that. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't bring in both JT and Bagent. I'm not really sure. It's pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy. But, so at the end of the day, I'll just say the failure to secure Tyson Beant in 2022 was a significant misstep by Neal Brown and Graham Harrell, which reflects their very questionable talent evaluation, their strategic priorities. You can look at the engagement with the state talent, in-state talent as well at times, because, I mean, you got a guy that's at 17,000 passing yards, 159 touchdowns. He was the Division two Heisman Trophy winner, and all these NCAA records. Pretty much a can't miss prospect walk into your building and you don't even know who he is, or at least that he was supposed to be there. I'm assuming they knew who he was. And then you brought in a quarterback that was, you could say, largely more unproven in JT Daniels. And then that's why you went to a 5. That's why you were 5-7. Kind of, it amplifies the magnitude of that oversight. Program, we were a program that was struggling to maintain relevance at that point in time, and letting a hometown hero like Tyson Beant slip away was not just incompetent. It was inexcusable. It still is inexcusable. Let's go to break. On the other side, we got to look at dogs. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by none other than Monarch Money. And look, we love talking about Monarch Money, of course, because they do it big. And if you want a personal CFO, somebody that can be the prince king over your finances, that is Monarch Money. And if you've ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Online shopping, dining out, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money is going to step in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility, control of your finances. It's not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track your accounts, investments, and spending, and all in one place. Stop managing your money. Start building your wealth today with Monarch Money. Take control of your finances. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for 50% off your very first year. And it's segment 2. Let's crack open a do and look at a couple of things I want to bring up here, guys. So, all right. I think here, West Virginia is in a spot right now where we're going to need some guys to step up that maybe the casual fan may not know who they are. So I kind of wanted to jump into that a little bit, and talk about some players I think are going to step up for West Virginia. But before we get there, I definitely want to talk about a player that I want to keep my eyes on, as his brother is already on our team. He's a 4-star player and somebody I think West Virginia has a chance with, after speaking with some people today. 5'10", 180-pound athlete out of Cardinal Mooney High School, Lauron Duce, is a guy that certainly is extremely talented as an athlete, whether that's on offense or defense for sure. His brother is Tyson Duce. So let's get over here to his X page for a second and check him out and see what he's all about and what kind of player is West Virginia possibly getting here. If you look at the posts, top 5 is Georgia Tech, Indiana, Oregon, West Virginia, and UCF. Not a bad top 5. So he's got some clips on here that I want to play. He doesn't have any, unfortunately, it doesn't have any more than a couple clips, I think, on any one like this.
Yeah,
this looks like some kind of skills competition, maybe. Not exactly sure.
that's where the little kids are. Another deep shot for Silwar. For pressure. Wow. That's what they needed to get back in the game.
This is 7-on-7. Pretty cool. Wow. Nice play here. Interception. I can see how they could market some 7-on-7 to be pretty cool. I would probably watch it. Here he is again. So, I don't know exactly what. So here he is in 7-on-7 drills. Playing a little defense. Not bad there. Motion. Nicely done here, I think. I wonder what. Is this like I'm a little confused as to what we're seeing here as far as, like, is this some kind of like AAU style 7-on-7 league or something? Somebody let me know in the comments. I'm not sure. Like, I haven't seen that before. That's pretty cool. Here he's at West Virginia with his brother. So that's kind of cool. Like to see that. For those of you listening on X, or I mean on podcast, I'm watching over here on X. So if you want to get over here, if you want to go over to X while you're listening to this, maybe on your laptop or on your phone, whatever you're not listening to this on, and go over to X, it's at Hall 2026. At Hall, Hall 2026. And you can kind of look at what I'm talking about here. There's a video of him and his brother, and then he's got several clips of him actually playing tackle football. And there's a few clips of him on there playing 7-on-7 as well. Here he is playing for Cardinal Mooney. Not sure if this is offense or defense, to be honest. Looks like an interception from Duce here. So let's follow him. Okay, so this will be him at the top of your screen. We'll let it go, and he was playing way off there, and this is a bad throw. But, I mean, a great catch by him, for sure. So it's only the one play. See, this is what I don't understand why these aren't all clipped together, at least for like a 2-minute video or 1-minute video, but it is what it is. Oh, so he made a play on that ball. There he's in a red jersey. So he's just out of your screen right here. And you'll see him pop in right there. Basically, he shed the block and was able to intercept that bubble screen. Oh, this is the same play I already watched. Okay. I think he's on offense here. Yeah. So there he is scoring a touchdown in the game. You can't exactly see him run the route, which kind of sucks. I would like to see that, but yeah, a nice catch. It looks like he was in one-on-one coverage there, so they kind of diced whoever that was up. Here's another play. Oh, big hit from Duce on that play. I'm sure there's a larger body of work as far as tape on him out there somewhere. I'll just have to find it and maybe play it at another time. So, okay, well, is this the whole play all close to it? So here he is right here at the top of your screen. He's already got this guy beat by 3 yards. So it's at the end of the day, it's just all about him securing. Oh, wait, no, he was on defense. Good Lord, you couldn't tell. I mean, obviously the jersey color probably should have tipped me off, but I wasn't looking at the quarterback. I was looking up here, and I mean, the way this has started, it looks like he's the receiver. So the quarterback just overthrows it, and he picks it off. Okay, and then I guess he decides to bring it out. Hopefully you see some of that athletic ability here. Interesting stuff. So not a whole lot of, no offense to anybody, but there's not a whole lot of care taken to these clips. And it looks like they vary. And then some of these are several years old. Like this is from 2023. So this is a couple years old. He's obviously a lot older than that now. So a lot of his, and here he is at West Virginia. This is the box he got from West Virginia with the snacks and the whole thing that they do now. They put him on the white hotel bed. Let's see if it's better than Indiana's. Oh, Indiana's looks a little better, guys, than ours. Anybody agree? Does Indiana's look better than ours? Look at ours. It's like I don't know. I'm assuming he's already messed with it at this point, so maybe it's not fair to compare. So, I would like to see West Virginia get this kid. I think he's got a lot of talent. I would love to see more, but unfortunately, yeah, I noticed that once we got into the video, Anthony, I noticed that was from the Hurricane. So you would think I knew not to call that Hurricane, but anyways, let's get to another clip here from somebody different. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and go to break. On the other side, what we'll do is to answer Jared's question, by the way, he asked the question so the whole country overlooked him talking about Tyson Beant. I wanted to answer this earlier. So Tyson Beant said it in the interview. He wasn't going to leave Shepherd for just anywhere. It was going to be West Virginia. I think he visited Maryland, but he said he wasn't really going to go there because Talia Tagovailoa was the guy there, and I mean he was a good quarterback anyway. I don't know why they were looking at Bagent. I mean Bagent's better than Tagovailoa for sure, but Yeah, so he just wasn't really wanting to leave Shepard anyway, which comes out in that interview. So, for whatever you want to say, I get it. He was a little overlooked by everybody, and that's fair. But I mean, look, West Virginia had him in their building, and they had a chance to make the impression, and they didn't do it. There was some academic stuff as well that kind of got in the way, but at the end of the day, I think that it's fixable from people I've talked to. So take that for what you will. Let's go to break really quick, and what we'll do is on the other side, I got some guys I want to look at, and some people that I think that are big time sleepers for West Virginia this year. So that's what we're going to look at next. Stick around. This is Locked On West Virginia. Okay, guys. So we're back here in segment 3, Locked On West Virginia. Thank you for joining in. Today we have talked about Tyson Beant. How did they blow it? Well, go back and check that out when you get time. We checked out Lauron Duce, a player that I think is, could be a very good player, obviously, to join his brother. And then, no doubt about it, we got to talk about some dogs like we do every day until we get, there'll come a time when we'll have to stop watching some of these clips and start doing other topics because I get it. It's getting stale a little bit. At least I feel like I would like to move on to some other stuff, but unfortunately right now with the way the things are and it's the summer, topics aren't exactly just falling all over the place. I mean, there are things we could talk about. Like I'm going to start moving on to basketball stuff here, but like you got to think about it. Like how many things can I talk about with basketball? Like I could get on here and talk about they need a big and they need a guard. And then what? We've talked about every player on the team so many times. So we're going to have to figure out some things. I keep waiting for basketball to do something, make some move, at least offer somebody so I could talk about them, right? Like even if they just offered somebody and we found out about it, I could talk about that. But it's so dead air silent right now that we just have to. This is the off season, right? And that's the reason we're only running one ad per show right now because it's the off season. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Logan Ramper again. I've showed him a couple times on the show. But I think, there's a lot of people that's missed him as well. And I have to remember something I looked at yesterday when I was checking out the analytics on the show here. 80% of the people that watch this show aren't subscribed. And the thing that's crazy is there are people that continue to come back over and over again. So you probably just see that I'm live or you see that I did a video or whatever, and you click on it, which is fine. Please, I'm asking you, if you're watching me on the screen right now, could you please just move your finger an inch or however far it is away, hit the subscribe button, please. We're like a couple people away from 5,000. And I'm going to give a gift away. I've decided to number 5,000. I'm going to give somebody $50. The 5,000th subscriber will get $50. And the way I can tell that is in the YouTube analytics, it tells me who subscribed, how long they've been subscribed, what day they subscribed on, literally everything I could possibly want to know. So whenever that number ticks over 5,000, which we're at, let me see exactly where we're at right now. And you guys know, I rarely even mention the subscription count. So we're at 4,851 subscribers. We've gained right around, let's see, where were we at? 22. We've gained 2,600 subscribers since October. It's not bad, not bad. It was doing, but here's the thing. We did that we were at 2,400 2 or 3 months ago. So it's slowed down a lot. And I think it's because of the off season. I get that. So anyway, I need to try to boost that up and get to over 5,000. Believe it or not, studies have shown too on YouTube that when people see a number greater than 5,000 in the subscriber count box, it somehow psychologically makes them believe you're a little more relevant than you really are. I don't know why that is. So just generally, it's just a baseline, more important number for me to get to, just so I can be past it, because it is a goal. Everybody, subscriber count doesn't really matter a ton towards views, but it does matter for other reasons, like if you want sponsors and different things. But this is Locked On, so I don't have to worry about that. We already have a bunch of sponsors. Point is I just want to get there. It's just I want to continue to grow and reach more people. And even though 80% of the people that watch it don't subscribe, that's fine. All right, so Logan Ramper here is a player that, man, I got to be honest. I love this kid. I've talked about it a couple times. I don't know when he's going to hit for us, but I do believe he will be a David Seals type player for us at some point in time. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I do think that he's got a chance to be very good. Let's get to the tape on him. And somebody asked a question about who's left out there as far as bigs go. I'll answer that question here in just a minute. Let's watch this tape from my guy Logan Ramper here.
The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again.
Oh, we got the Scarface in the background. I was wondering what that is. So put it in perspective here. Logan is 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". You never know if they're lying about it or the school, not Logan. You never know if the school's exaggerating it or not. But he is a dude that I really believe has a chance to be good. He's got all the measurables that you want, the size, the length. Hell, if you made him gain 30 pounds, he would be a devastating tight end. And which is why I think lining this kid up close to the line of scrimmage would be a great idea. Don't know if they'll do that or not, but I would sure love to see it. As you can see, he is very quick for his size. Look at that move there, hurdling over somebody, and just a great move there. Down the field, he's stretching the field here and just wide open, and you can see he catches that ball. Wide open, man. Love to see that. There's another one. So he's able to get deep for a guy his size. That was 3 touchdowns in one game. Here he is adjusting to the ball, and this is against a pretty good team in Ferris State. So, and that's a nice little play stretched out right there. Yeah, we like to see that. So, I like this kid a lot, man. And here's the thing. I one of the things about him, this is probably a great example of it right here. So obviously on the fade route here, the size differential, he's so much bigger than this kid, and he's able to, for lack of a better way to put it, he's able to box him out. He gets 2 hands on him. No push off, right? He just goes straight up. And it's just a size thing. He's just bigger. He's stronger. And you couple that with, by the way, number 7 for who was that? By the way, was that Ferris State? I want to make sure. No, it was California, PA. Never mind. Wrong team. Anyways, so I like Logan a lot. I've told you guys a couple times on the show. Every time I watch his tape, I continue to think of, like, man, he would be a great tight end. He's 6'4". I mean, he's big enough, definitely, to be that. But at receiver, I mean, even at what he's at, I think he's right around 215, 220. He still has great, not great speed, but he's got good speed. I mean, he's always, there he goes right there. Look, I mean, he runs straight by this kid, right? I mean, he's not slow by any means. Now, this is definitely D2, so I get that too. I do love these jerseys, by the way, from Slippery Rock. But, I mean, you look at this, like, this kid was even and he was leaving, right? Right here he is. Watch him just zoom by him. Gone. So, it's plays like that right there when I watch him, especially because all 6'4" players have that inherent advantage of being 6'4", having the length and that kind of thing. Like, those come with it, but can you use it? And then you see him do plays like this where He can run a little, and then he on that one play he hurdled somebody. So there's a lot to love about Logan Ramper, and that's why I compare him to David Sills because he can get vertical. I mean, look at him move right here. I love this play just because of you can, like, you know how I say a lot, you can just see how a guy moves on the field, and you can tell whether he's a good athlete, a great athlete, average, or whatever. Watch how he moves in comparison to the other guy and everybody else on the field. Like he's just moving at a little bit different level and a different pace, and he should be. There's a reason he's at the power forward level now, but just his cuts here, everything he does here is very good. I mean, you can just tell, right? He's just a little bit smoother, a little bit faster. I like to see it. So another play where he's just bigger. So it almost looked like LSU at first, doesn't it? That's LSU's jerseys for basically that's Western Carolina. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's where the kid Marcel Reed came out of that plays for Pitt right now. That little running back they have, that's where he came out of. So it's not even a shock anymore. I mean, it's not. Players are coming up from this level literally every single year and being incredible college football players. Now, you're not going to get as many pro players, obviously, out of this level. You're going to get some. They're going to happen a lot. But like generally speaking, you're gonna find really good college football players at this level because college is less about uh, what I would consider talent and more about mindset. So, I think if your mindset is right in college, then I feel like you can be good more so in the NFL where talent reigns supreme there. So it's just the way it is. Before we go, I'm going to go over a quick list with you guys that I have. It's in my head, so I'm going to have to just go. Of players that I think are underrated in every position room. It's just something I wanted to do for fun. That I think could be very good if given the opportunity. Maybe they won't get it, but let's do it. So at the quarterback room, you have to go with Max Brown because Jalen Henderson and Nico Marchiol are the two guys there. At running back, I think out of the entire room, literally everybody besides Clay Ash, I think I've talked about on this show a lot. Clay Ash deserves his flowers, and it's not because like he's as talented as some other guys in the room. I just think for whatever reason I've overlooked him, and it's my fault to be honest. I do think he's got a chance to be good. I just don't know because of all the players that we brought in if he's going to get the opportunity to be good or not. But I hope so. Would love to see that. At wide receiver, I think a guy that I haven't focused on a lot that others like, Christian Hamilton out of North Carolina. There's just not a lot of film on him, so it's not that I don't like him. It's just I don't know. Like I could go watch his high school stuff, but it's almost irrelevant at this point. So Christian Hamilton is a guy that I really think has a chance to be so good. If because he's got a couple of plays in North Carolina where he got deep and he was beating people and that kind of thing. So, and then Armani Weaver for a true freshman, I think he's going to make an impact soon. Camden Pittsburgh at wide receiver is a guy we watched yesterday that I like. I don't know if he's ready yet strength wise, but man, he's a great receiver as far as cuts and routes. At tight end, this one's kind of hard. I think because we've got 5 guys in that room that are all, in my opinion, pretty well known. Grayson Barnes, we just got out of the portal. Everybody's expecting him to be something. Greg Ginross definitely wouldn't be a shock if he was great, right? Because he's 6'6", 6'7", runs a 4.4, 4.5, or whatever it is. If he puts it together, he could be great. Barrick had incredible numbers at Jack State last year as a blocker and some receiving numbers. Ryan Ward just transferred in from North Carolina, so it's like we know he's probably going to be good. And then Noah Braham, who has been good here already as a blocker. So I guess, if you're going to make me pick somebody, I'll probably go with Ginross because Ginross, however you say it, he hasn't done anything yet. So technically he's still underrated. Offensive line's tough as well because I think everybody in there, I think we have, a pretty comparable talent level to every other guy. Like, there's not a guy in here that you could say is Zach Frazier, at least yet. Maybe there will be, but there's not a guy in here you could say, yeah, that's our Wyatt Milam, right? So who are some guys in here that maybe people aren't looking at that could be good? I think you have to go with Nick Cray, even though he's probably the projected starter. Your casual fan, even West Virginia fan, your casual West Virginia fan doesn't know who Nick Cray is, most likely, or Landon Livingston, for that matter. Your casual fan. Now, anybody outside of that for sure would. Like if you follow, let's say, if you watch West Virginia stuff once a week, even, you would probably know who they are. But if you're just one of those people that watches when the year starts, you don't have any clue who those guys are, and why would you? I mean, you just lost some really good offensive linemen. By the way, it really was killing me to see some of our guys being featured at Virginia Tech the other day. Oh man, it's driving me nuts. It really is, because I just think about what could have been with some of those guys. Another offensive lineman, I think could definitely make an impact. That's underrated is Robbie Martin. I don't think people are expecting him to do anything this year, but it wouldn't shock me if he did. He's got a year at North Carolina State. He doesn't have any playing time or experience, but we know he's got talent. Defensive end, this is another one that I'm going to go with Adam Tomczyk, our new transfer or our new guy from JUCO, and then Wilnerson Telemack from the guy we flipped from Wisconsin, a true freshman. Defensive tackle, there's literally not one player in that room that I could say is underrated. I guess you go with Corey McIntyre if you want to say he's never played a snap yet, but I'm expecting big things from him, so I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up being good. We know Nate Gabriel played a lot last year. Elijah Simmons transferred in from JUCO, and I expect him to be in that rotation. And Eddie V is definitely good. At linebacker, I always have to go with my guy Cam Torber. I've talked about him all off season, ever since I watched his tape. True freshman linebacker. I think he's an underrated kid that could make an impact. And then Ashton Woods, the North Carolina transfer, obviously would be a huge, huge win if he could be good early, like this early. Heck yeah, take that. At nickel and at safety, I'll pick Zay Jennings, easy pick there. I think he just has to do it. The physical talent is there. He just has to do it. And then probably Kiki Tarnu, even though he's more of a known name. I think the other guys that have come in have overshadowed him a little bit. Remember, these are underrated players. Corner, I'll go with another freshman, Carmarius Bomar. I don't know what he's going to do. Honestly, we watched it again yesterday, day before yesterday. His high school tape is so ridiculous that I'm still shocked that he's not a receiver. He's so good at receiver in high school. But anyway, so he must be that much better at corner. And he's a dynamic athlete, so not surprised there. Nick Taylor, the freshman out of App State, I think is a very interesting name. He played 7 games last year there and came in basically with his position coach, and a lot of people like him. And, that's it. That's it for on this one. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll definitely jump on and holler at you and see if I agree or disagree. Tyson Beant, man, we could have had him. Pretty wild story there. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you next time, guys. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is over, but make sure you check out the Portal Report first. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, and if you want to be the most informed fan in college football, you got to do it over there at the Portal, and I'll see you then, guys. This episode's over, and I'm out.